We all experience stress. It's a universal language, a shared human experience that transcends culture, age, and background. Whether it's the pressure of a deadline, the anxiety of a social situation, or the weight of daily responsibilities, stress is an inescapable part of life. We often perceive stress as something external, a force that overwhelms us from the outside. However, what if we told you that we often play a significant role in creating our own stress? It's easy to feel like we're constantly battling against a tide of demands and pressures. The modern world, with its constant connectivity and relentless pace, can feel like a breeding ground for anxiety and tension. We're bombarded with information, deadlines, and expectations, leaving us feeling overwhelmed and depleted. But what if we could learn to navigate this complex landscape with greater ease and resilience? Stress. The very word can send a shiver down your spine or knot up your stomach. We often view it as the enemy, a negative force that drains our energy and disrupts our peace. But what exactly is stress? Is it inherently bad, or can it serve a purpose in our lives? In its simplest terms, stress is a biological and psychological response to perceived threats or challenges. We all have hopes and dreams, aspirations that fuel our motivation and give us a sense of purpose. However, sometimes our optimism can be misplaced, leading us down a path of disappointment and increased stress. This is the insidious nature of cruel optimism, the belief in something that should bring happiness, but ultimately leads to unhappiness. Imagine, for instance, pinning all your hopes on a promotion at work, believing it to be the key to your happiness and fulfillment. Section 3. Threats on the horizon. Absolute versus relative stressors. Our brains are wired to detect and respond to threats, a legacy from our evolutionary past, when survival depended on our ability to react swiftly to danger. However, not all threats are created equal. Understanding the distinction between absolute and relative stressors can shed light on why we experience stress in seemingly benign situations. Absolute stressors are those that represent a direct and immediate threat to our survival. Think of encountering a wild animal, facing a natural disaster, or being physically attacked. These are situations that would trigger a stress response in virtually anyone, regardless of their personality or life experiences. Absolute stressors activate our primal fight or flight response, preparing us to either confront the danger head-on or flee to safety. Section 1. The biology of stress. A symphony of hormones. Imagine this. You're walking through a dense forest when you spot a rustling in the undergrowth. Your heart starts to pound, your breath quickens, and your muscles tense. You've just experienced the first wave of your body's stress response, orchestrated by a complex symphony of hormones. The moment your senses detect a potential threat, in this case, the rustling leaves, a signal is sent to your amygdala, the brain's emotional processing center. The amygdala acts as a kind of alarm system, rapidly assessing the situation and determining whether a threat is present. Section 2. The modern stress epidemic. When relative stressors reign supreme. While our ancestors faced life-threatening situations like attacks from predators or natural disasters, our modern stressors are often more insidious. We're bombarded with deadlines, expectations, and a constant stream of information, leaving us feeling overwhelmed and perpetually on edge. This constant exposure to relative stressors, those perceived threats to our ego, social standing, or future goals, has led to what some experts call a modern stress epidemic. Section 3. Trapped in our heads. Rumination and the cycle of stress. Have you ever found yourself replaying a stressful event over and over in your mind, even though it happened hours or even days ago? This mental loop, known as rumination, is a common response to stress, but it can trap us in a vicious cycle of negativity and anxiety. Section 1. The high cost of emotional suppression. We live in a society that often encourages us to suppress our emotions. We're told to toughen up, put on a brave face, and not let our feelings get the best of us. While there are certainly times when it's appropriate to manage our emotional displays, habitually suppressing our emotions can have detrimental effects on our well-being. Section 2. Unpacking the emotional onion. A layered approach. Emotions can feel messy and overwhelming, like a tangled knot that seems impossible to unravel. However, by approaching our emotions with curiosity and compassion, we can begin to unpack them layer by layer, like peeling back the layers of an onion. Section 3. Mastering your emotions. Strategies for emotional regulation. Emotional regulation is not about suppressing or denying our emotions, but rather about learning to manage them effectively. It's about finding a balance between acknowledging and expressing our emotions in healthy ways, while also being able to regulate their intensity so they don't overwhelm us. The modern stress paradox. Abundance and anxiety. We live in an age of unprecedented abundance. We have access to more information, entertainment, and material goods than any generation in history. Technology has connected us across continents, made information readily available, and simplified countless aspects of our lives. Digital distress signals. Navigating the social media minefield. Social media has become an integral part of our lives, offering countless benefits like connecting with loved ones, staying informed, and building communities. However, it's essential to be mindful of the potential downsides of excessive social media use, particularly its impact on our stress levels. Reclaiming your peace. Practical tips for minimizing self-generated stress. While we can't eliminate stress from our lives entirely, we can take proactive steps to minimize self-generated stress and cultivate a greater sense of peace and well-being. Here are some practical tips to help you reclaim your peace. Challenge negative thought patterns. Become aware of your self-talk and challenge negative thought patterns. The power within. Embracing stress management for a fulfilling life. As we've explored the multifaceted nature of stress, one crucial theme has emerged. While we may not always control the external stressors that life throws our way, we possess an innate power to manage our responses to them. Understanding the interplay between our biology, our thoughts, and our emotions is key to unlocking this power within. Remember, stress is not inherently bad.